Auto Pros on the Road is sponsored by Autolite, manufacturers of high-quality spark plugs since 1935. Visit Autolite.com for more information.
So Jackie, we're going to check out a pretty interesting shop today here in Charlotte. It's called Auto Shop of the Carolinas, but it's also Hybrid Shop of the Carolinas, where they are the first certified shop in North Carolina that reconditions hybrid batteries and puts them kind of like back to a new state and puts them back in, getting a lot more life out of the batteries.
Super interesting. I love that we've seen a little bit of everything this week down here in Charlotte. There's been performance stuff, there's been machine shop stuff, and now hybrid and battery tech. And I think that that's really interesting. I talk about it a lot in the motorcycling and power sports space because it's just totally booming over there right now. With battery tech and cars, has been going on a little bit longer. But I have to admit, I myself am personally really curious about how they get reconditioned, how to maybe keep them out of the landfills. There's this whole conversation about whether they're sustainable or not, whether they really are better for the environment, and all that kind of conversation that's happening. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Roselle kind of teaching us a little bit about it and how it works and the process about it. I think it's going to be really fascinating. Plus, they also have a full auto shop too, so we get to talk to some of the techs.
Oh, right on. They do a little bit of everything here.
Everything here.
Very cool. Very
Should
cool.
be fun.
Good pick, Joe. Let's go check it out.
Got it. All right, check it out.
Let's check it out. Hi, how are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good morning, Jackie.
Jackie and Roselle Tolliver.
Nice to meet you,
Nice
Roselle.
to meet you.
How are you?
Joe Roselle. Nice to meet you, sir.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us out here today.
Anytime. Welcome to Charlotte.
Yeah. Charlotte's been a beautiful area. A little busy in the driving around area, but Charlotte has been wonderful, and the hospitality we have received from a lot of the folk down here has been great. So.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
It has been great, but we definitely wanted to stop by and come check out your shop in particular with everything you do with hybrid technology. I think that that's really fascinating. I know I talk about it an awful lot, especially in motorcycle power sports space, because it's really kind of coming on right now. But it's been going on in cars for years and years. So to hear that you're this first certified battery tech, reconditioning, all sorts of cool stuff going on like that, I knew that we needed to come and talk to you for sure.
It is absolutely fascinating technology, and we know that hybrids have been out for a while and EVs are on the rise, but dealing with some of these batteries, you're seeing people just throw them out if they're starting to get a little bit depleted instead of doing something different. You're offering that in a way that I haven't been able to really see a lot of yet, so we're really fascinated to learn more about it. Plus you also have 16 bays here. It looks like you're putting out a lot of work and taking care of a lot of different customers too.
We are. We do a lot of different type of repairs. Hybrid is certainly a big part of that, but we're still a regular shop as well, so we maintain a lot of fleets and regular vehicles on the road as well.
Yeah.
But our hybrid technology and repairs have definitely taken off. We started that in 2015, so it's really taken off.
That's good. So 6 years into it, 7 years into it. I already seen a couple Priuses out coming in and out of the building already. So does a lot of people know about this service in the Charlotte area, or?
I think the word's pretty much out there now. Okay. We get a lot of phone calls pertaining to it, but we do the batteries, but we do all type of repairs on the Priuses and Camrys and such. So we're doing a lot of preventive maintenance work as well, and batteries are part of it.
And I guess most people don't understand the actual technology and the voltage and the precautions and the safety that is involved with handling this type of repair. You've got to be specially trained to do this.
We definitely recommend it.
So I shouldn't be standing in a bucket of water,
Wouldn't be our first suggestion. Over a period of time, I think we've become more comfortable doing it like anyone. Over a period of time, you get more comfortable with something. But it's definitely some voltage involved.
That's great.
I'm really curious to see, I'm sure that you must have like a special bay, special area that only handles hybrid, I'm assuming.
Well, our shop, being 16 bays, we work on the cars in all the bays, but we do have one room set up to do the battery reconditions on the models that we can do.
Awesome. That I definitely want to see, Joe.
Definitely. Sure. Want to mind showing us around and take a look around your shop and see what's going on?
Glad to.
Perfect.
All right, let's
Thanks.
go.
Where do you want to start?
All right, it's good to play.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Hi, guys.
By the way, this is Antonio, my new service writer.
Antonio, pleasure.
Greg Garbolt, my manager here.
You've been here for what, 15 years, right? All right, nice to see you. Nice to meet you, too.
Hey, this is Mary.
Oh,
Hey.
Mary's every shop has the glue that holds us together.
Joe, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Mary's been here since 1991, so without
Nice to
her,
meet you.
we would be lost.
You're officially the glue that holds the shop together.
Yeah, that's what they say.
You hold it all the way down.
We call her Mama Mary.
It's nice to meet
Nice
you,
to
Mama
meet you.
Mary.
you.
Thank you so much for letting us stop by.
No problem.
All right, let's go check out this battery room.
Yes.
Start your passion. Whether it has 4 wheels, 2 wheels, or no wheels. Whatever your passion, ignite it with Autolite.
So this is actually a hybrid battery room.
All right. This is very, very interesting. And we already have a battery pack sitting right here. And tell me a little bit about what is going on with all of this equipment here.
Well, basically these are packs out of the Toyota Priuses. Out of all the batteries we do, the Prius is probably the most common. Of course, there are a lot of them on the road today.
Well, sure, that's at one point there was 90% of all hybrids were Priuses sold for, they were the car for years since they came out in 97.
Exactly.
So
well, basically when we pull them out, we go through them, we take the covers and such off, we'll hook up individual leads so we can check each individual channel to see what type of juice is left in each module.
okay. So what most people think is that it's just one big battery. It's not. These are individual batteries, correct?
Correct, and they're hooked in series,
Okay.
and then by doing that, you build the voltage, and that's what actually gives you the high voltage battery pack is individual cells.
And on the Prius, how many volts are we talking here?
Once they're up together, this pack here is I think 360 off the top of my head.
Okay. So that's a lot of voltage to deal with. So anytime as a tech you see orange,
Orange is definitely a color to stay away from, as
Yes.
don't want to do any piercing and such. The manufacturers have done a good job in making them safe and keeping them away. You can work on the vehicle, but you don't want to do any probing around anything that's orange.
yeah, you got to be very, very careful, right?
Sure.
So we've got the whole battery pack out here. What do we do now that we've suspected an issue? Or what was the customer coming in for originally what would be their alert?
So normally a lot of people call and say, hey, the master death light is on, which is a big warning light that comes on
Big
the Prius.
triangle,
Big triangle.
yes.
But that light can come on for other reasons.
Yes,
but that
it
is
can.
one of the reasons that people come in. They may notice a low voltage situation or a low power situation when they're trying to accelerate, just not getting the mileage that they used to get out of the vehicle, hesitations, things of that sort. It's typically signs that the battery itself may be starting to fail. And a lot of times there are failure codes that will go along with that when we do a
Sure.
scan. So once we do that, we'll get the unit out, hook up to it, and we'll do individual tests. We run what's known as a power test, and we'll also do a energy test. So when I was going through my training, the easiest way to explain it was the power test is how quick the battery can, if you had a barrel, how quick you could get the power out of the barrel.
Okay, yeah, how fast can you pour
Right.
that water out?
Sure.
Is there a
And
restriction or is it wide open? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the energy test is how much can the battery hold. Not the barrel hold. If it's dented, it wouldn't have the same capacity. So those are kind of the two ways we look at it.
That's a good way to visualize it too for people who are still maybe struggling with how that works. That's a good analogy.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So this unit that we're hooked up to is our battery discharge unit. This particular unit does the battery power test and the energy test. And it does that by, when we do the energy test, it's basically pulling the voltage down over a period of time and monitoring the numbers.
And it's monitoring individual cells, as you will.
Correct, and that's why some people ask us to, can you just check it in the car? And there are newer machines out there now that I think has that capability. But for us, we'd like to get it out so we can physically look at it as well. You get a lot of dirt, debris. Sometimes you can get cells that are starting to leak, cells that are starting to swell. and thus all visual signs that the battery's under stress.
I prefer that method as well. That way, like you just said, you can see what's going on instead of assuming.
Sure.
So you can get that out and do it that way.
And what
Exactly.
causes this battery swelling that you just mentioned?
Over a period of time, heat is a big victim or a big contributor.
Okay.
To heat contributes to the battery swelling over a period of time because of a lot of times you get dirt and debris building up between the cells, so you build up dust, and that can contribute to the circulation of air that's going through here. A lot of vehicles, or basically all of the vehicles, they have an air intake in the back of the car, and it's basically air being drawn through the system with the fan, and those fans circulate the air through the unit to keep it cool.
Gotcha. So just like any kind of computer system, you know, the fan and air circulation keeping it cool makes it run more efficiently and makes it actually run and do what it's supposed to do.
Correct. So you can even do, even if you're not doing a battery reconditioning, there are times you should really take the fan out and clean the ductwork just to make sure you keep everything circulating. We even have filters that we install aftermarket that they don't come from the factory that way. And they are offered from Toyota, but they're filters that go over the air intake to kind of restrict debris from getting in, especially if you carry a lot of pets. You have pet hair and stuff floating around.
It'll clog up that blower motor and kind of
Right.
reduce efficiency, and that's a great place also to inform customers, is letting them know that that vent system is there. We've seen the cars that a lot of things are just thrown about,
Sure.
and you know, blocking different vents and different things like that. That could also degrade the batteries themselves over time.
It can, and we try to tell people if they're going on long trips, you know, we used to pile in the back seat and put blankets and pillows on the doorways, the pillows. A lot of times you have to be careful with that. You don't want to create a restriction from the airflow.
Interesting.
Yes, sir.
I had no idea. I never even thought about that. That's really super fascinating. And I have a really dumb question. Is this the whole battery that is in that car? This is it? Just one?
Just one.
Okay.
It's basically.
Okay, no, I know you're laughing at me. I know.
No, not at all.
I'll throw
laughing at you.
myself right on the
Unfortunately,
side.
I don't have one assembled at this point, but this is what with the current all off. So this is what it looks like under the cover. This big battery that you see there is actually out of a Ford Escape Mariner, so that's a hybrid battery out of a Ford. And I don't know if you can see the shot of the big long one there on the floor, but that's out of a Chevy Tahoe.
Okay.
And that particular battery has the same cells as this, even though it's Chevy, it has the same as a Toyota. So it's just more of those in that unit.
Yeah.
Okay, now look, you can laugh, but in my mind, I was absolutely expecting underneath. Clearly, I do not drive or operate hybrid vehicles, but in my mind, I honestly was expecting like a series of car batteries all hooked up together.
But that's not far off from how it actually used to be in the early 1900s. Electric.
No, it's true. It's true. It's true.
When Joe was born
Yeah.
in the early 1900s, it was a series of huge
It
batteries.
was lead cell batteries, and Baker Manufacturing, founded in Cleveland, was very, very big on electric cars. Electric cars were originally designed for ladies because it was designed to be clean.
Correct.
No grease, no gas, quiet, ladylike. And that's how it was. But they were the lead cell batteries, and today we've gotten into a little bit more of a lithium ion or a nickel-based battery as well, which you see now. So none of those are dumb to assume because it actually was that way, you know?
So I wanted to show you as well.
Sure.
Let me grab one of these. So these are actually the cells out of that particular battery pack.
Okay.
And Honda utilizes something very similar. And if you look at it, it really looks like a bunch of D-cell batteries
really does.
hooked together.
It does.
Yes, so imagine a bunch of these again hooked in series, and that's how they do the hybrid batteries. And again, that pack and Hondas.
I think that's so fascinating.
That's
I think
neat.
it's so interesting to me. Super cool. So now let's see, you know, you have this battery in here, it's hooked up, you're testing it, you're visually inspecting it. Now what's next?
Well, one of the things we look at once this procedure goes through and the test is complete, I'll give you an example. Each line represents one of these channels.
Okay.
All right, so you can see how these lines are all spread out. They're not together. That just shows you the disarray that this battery pack's in.
Oh.
When we look at this particular unit, we like to see higher amp hours. We typically want anything around 150, and you can see none of these marks are reaching that amp hour. They're just all over the place at this point.
Okay.
When the computer starts setting codes for a battery pack, it's typically a battery failure because it's reading that the cells aren't matched. So what's happening is it say, hey, this channel is lower than this one, and basically it starts setting failure codes to let you know the battery's starting to fail, because they want that battery pack to be balanced.
Yeah, we want even amperage, we want even voltage all the way across, and we want that discharge and recovery rate the same as well.
Exactly. So that's when it starts setting failure codes. So that's why when we start doing the battery reconditioning initially, we were replacing, once we go through and test the bad cells, we would replace just the bad cells. What I've learned over a period of time from my personal experience is I like to purchase, if I'm going to do a reconditioning, I like to get a newer used battery if I can and recondition that one, save the cells that I can. So I end up replacing all of the cells in them. I kind of put it the equivalent of replacing one AA battery in a remote controller that takes 4.
Yeah.
Okay. But they can be serviced individually if you had just one that was really just throwing a weird oddball
An unexpected failure.
Yeah.
They can. Again, it's just extending the battery life.
And this is a nice visualization because this is, again, explains to the customer, gives you that opportunity, that teaching moment to say, here's what should happen, here's why it's, needs replaced or repaired.
Exactly.
It's not just it's no good.
Right, and so you can see how that looked on that particular unit. Let me show you what a finished one would look like, and you'll see the difference. All right, so here's the one that's completed, and you can see the difference between that first pattern I showed you and this one. You can see how all the lines are almost like one big line, and you can see that they're all over the 150 amp hours. So that is a finished product, and that's the one that's ready to go.
What happens to the batteries that are no longer good? That's been a question in the industry, and that's been a challenge in the industry. What are we doing with the batteries that are no longer usable? They're end of the service life.
At this point, we're saving them. We have some upstairs. We have a shelf behind you with old units over there. We are in contact with different companies that are interested in purchasing them. So there are different recyclers on the market now that will take them off of our hands and basically refurbish them.
What's the average lifespan on these batteries?
And I've seen 10 to 12 years on average. And in mileage does not seem to be indicative. We've reconditioned batteries with 70,000 miles. I've reconditioned batteries with 350,000 miles.
Super interesting. So hybrid only here. That's the name of the game. There's no full EV happening. This is purely hybrid. So you still have to maintain both sides, the internal combustion and the hybrid side. But in the long run, you're getting this huge extension on your mile per gallon and all that kind of good stuff. So
Correct.
Very interesting.
It's fascinating. I think, again, people getting to see the technology involved in that, I think it's just really neat. I haven't got to see it before, so I'm really thankful for that. You've got to show us it and kind of explain it too, and explain the benefits of it and why it's good and what's really being going on with it.
Yeah, I'm glad I can help.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for showing us this particular area, and then let's go check out
The rest
some more
of
of your shop.
Yeah, let's see the rest of the shop. We've got 16 bays here.
So we have 16 bays here. This is the front side of it.
16.
Yes, sir. 16. We work on all type of vehicles here, as you can see, and we do have the capability of lifting up to 25,000 pounds. So
you're working on the bigger fleet-size trucks as well, then?
At one point, we were even doing a fleet of school buses. So we'll have a Prius in one bay and a truck in the other. But yes, definitely taking care of all of them. We've got an alignment machine on this side. We purchased a new one last year, and when we did that, we moved the old one to the other side so we can run two alignments.
New Hunter.
Yes, sir. And we moved the old Hunter to the other side so we can run two alignments on both sides.
That's nice.
Yes, sir. So that helps out.
I see you got 3 techs in this area?
3 techs in this area,
Okay.
1 in the back. Myself, believe it or not, I still get out here and turn a wrench as needed.
Yeah, as needed.
So yeah, we keep it running.
You try not to, but but sometimes
got a good
put
crew,
the gloves
man.
on and
Good crew.
change the pants.
They take care of. I actually keep a pair of coveralls in the back, so I'll throw them on and get busy.
Good
So
man.
former tech yourself, now you're running the shop and kind of service manager, but it's still your shop as well. So.
Correct. Greg is managing it for us. Antonio, the gentleman you met up front, I actually just started last week. I'm trying to transition a little more from the desk to be able to back off a little more and do more in the office and be able to oversee a little more. So it's working out pretty well so far.
Very cool.
Good.
Very cool. This place is huge. I can't get over how big it is.
It's a big shop. It's been here since 1998. Excuse me, I started in 1998. I think he built this in 1992. So,
Right on.
sure.
Well,
Great.
I'll
let's
show you the
head
back
on
side. Here's the back side of us.
Now we have 8 more bays.
Yeah, 8 bays.
And a
Prius.
Prius.
So, yes, sir. Now, this particular one's not battery. This was actually receiving a new engine. So we're just waiting on the new one to arrive, and we'll get that installed in there for him.
And again, we see the orange cables that we had talked about before. That's your high voltage cables.
Correct.
And
Voltage
we have to be very
cables.
careful with those when
Yes.
we're working around those.
Yes, and that's leading up to the inverters and the motor generator down at the bottom here. So as you can see, like I said, we do a lot of the heavier type work back here. So my man Tony's hard at work, and I let him do it all back here.
And he's got all of these.
We do
Most
that
of-
because it takes so much time. You're doing an engine, it might be there for a few days, and that way he has a lot of flexibility and he can move around. Plus he's been here for over 20 years as well. So
So he lives here.
He's earned his nest back here.
he
He's earned
has,
his space.
and this is the third location we've worked together. So altogether we worked together probably 30 years.
Oh wow, so you guys will go way back.
Yeah, we do. Good
Keeping
God.
the team together.
For sure.
I love it. I love it.
Thanks.
Well, let's go see what else we need to check out here.
So we got a Prius here. You wanted to show us where those batteries
Sure,
live
we'll
down
show you where we are.
I know, now that we've talked all this battery talk.
So she keeps saying it's small. Let me show you where it's placed in the vehicle. So here you can see where the battery actually sits back in the trunk area. And it's basically compact and out of the way.
It also gives this car great, actually, weight balance from front to rear. They have a great, tremendous amount of balance on these cars. It is a little bit of a heavier pack, but not as much as the engine, but it still does well.
Oh, it does real well. We say it's like driving a go car. It's fun to drive.
And you got our sticker right on the battery. What's that for?
Well, once we finish doing the reconditioning on the battery, we'll put a void sticker on it. So if someone does try to go into the packet, it would void the warranty. But that way we know it's our unit. We service it because we do offer a 2-year warranty anytime we do a reconditioning on the battery.
It's also to know you did it too. That gives.
Exactly. And that vent I was telling you about,
Where do those live for anybody who is wondering?
so we've actually got it right here on the side. You can see the air
All the
intake.
way back by the C-pillar here.
Yes, sir. So you've got air being drawn in here, and as I can see, as the seat is up, you can see it's very easy to have that blocked off, and so we try to warn people not to do that.
Like you said, the pillows or the blankets on a long trip, and you're
Exactly.
blocking it up, which could cause a little bit of too much heat in that battery, which will lead to degradation a lot
Exactly,
faster.
because there's actually a fan over here in the cowling, and as it's drawing it in, it helps circulate the air through that, so you don't want that to get into ductwork.
See, this is interesting because this is the very first place that I would throw my jacket, like in a second. I wouldn't even think about that. That is so strange to me that that's where that's living.
And there's not even a little bit of a warning, not even a sticker that says vent
Yeah.
anything, don't do this, don't do that.
This is our PSA for all of our Prius viewers that might be watching. This is where the air goes. Don't clog this up.
There you go.
And it's a good PSA for anybody else who has a hybrid battery pack. There is a vent somewhere.
Sure,
You need to know where it is,
Sure.
find out so that you can get that air flowing properly.
exactly.
Interesting. Thank you so much for showing us
You're
that.
very welcome.
Great.
Thanks.
Start your passion. Whether it has 4 wheels, 2 wheels, or no wheels. Whatever your passion, ignite it with Autolite.
So thanks for taking us around the shop and showing us a lot about that hybrid and really informing a lot of the people that own these cars too about the venting and some of those other things that can prolong the battery life, like the reconditioning and testing and how it all works. I thought that was really interesting. And again, we've said in the past, it's not new or it's not going away. It's been here for a while. So your future on and where what do you see yourself heading in the next 10 years in this location? You've been here for a while, since 1998. What do you look for the next little bit down the road?
Well, as you can see, as you came in, there's a lot of construction around us, so we want to just blend in with that and be part of the neighborhood, continue to grow. We've had great success here. We've got a lot of customers that have been here for years, and we want to continue proceeding down that road. We will definitely get more into the hybrid vehicles than we are now, continue training in that aspect. We know electric is coming. We want to be able to participate in that. You're still going to have gasoline cars on the road
For a long time.
for a long time.
Long time.
And we're going to continue taking care of those and keeping people happy. I'd like to add another couple of techs here in the future and just let it keep rolling.
Speaking of adding techs, are you having any issues or having problems finding techs right now?
The industry itself is struggling. We've been blessed that we've been okay in that aspect. One hire did take a while to get somebody in there, but that was also going through the whole COVID procedure and all. But for the most part, we're doing okay there. I feel like there's a struggle. A lot of young people are not coming into the industry, so it's definitely a challenge.
So what would be your advice to those people that are on the fence about, well, I might want to work on cars, I might not, or I think I do, but what is your advice to get some of these younger people back into this? Because right now the average age of today's technician is way up there, and there is a huge gap between the top and the lower tech. And if we don't get these younger techs, we're going to lose that knowledge that came from those older guys that have been doing this for a while, those tips, those tricks, and all that get handed down that you can't find in the service manual. What is your advice right now for some of these younger people that want to get into it?
I'd say try it. I mean, we offer hiring people without experience so we can train them. I know several friends that are actually doing apprenticeships, so we're going to probably do the next one as well to get involved. Everybody's not built for college, and I think there's a stereotype of the average mechanic being the oil change guy at the gas station, and those days are gone. Technology is really evolving. We're using more electronics, laptops. More cars will be fixed with reprogramming software. That's just the way that everything's headed. If you're into computers at all, you'd be surprised how much of that is involved in this issue, in this industry. Electronics, if you have someone that's good with computers, anything dealing with electrical, you're going to see that. So I say get involved. The service industry really needs you, and it's good money there.
It's a good career. It's a great career, and make a great living for yourself doing it.
And it's always needed. You need transportation.
We're seeing that more today in the past couple of years than we have in a long time.
Definitely. Even when COVID hit, we had a great year, kept going, kept everybody rolling, and it's a good industry to get into.
Well, it deemed itself essential too. When a lot of people were shut down, all of our techs and your techs were coming into work.
Exactly.
Because the cars don't stop, and the essential people still need cars too. So we were deemed an essential part of staying through that COVID, shutdown for a while there.
Like I said, I'd be surprised how many cars are actually fixed with the software download. And I mean, who would have thought that 10 years down the road, or 10 years earlier? So
you were a 2021 Charlotte Observer Best of Award for automotive.
We won Best of Award of Charlotte and also Best of the Nest, which was a different competition. So we happened to win both of them in the same year.
That speaks volumes for the amount of work that you're doing and the quality of work that you're doing to get recognized by the readers. This isn't some Google or Yelp award. This is chosen by the readers of those publications.
Joe, we've been blessed with a lot of good customers over the years. We've got customers that have been here for over 30 years, and we take care of them. We really appreciate them. We get them in, we get them out, take care of the vehicles, address the concerns, sell what's needed, or at least advise them of what's needed, let them make that decision.
Sure.
And just run an honest repair shop. We've got a great group of guys, and they know how we roll.
So just so you were wondering, of course, the hybrid part was part of while I was here, but also, again, I pick shops that have a great reputation, do great ratings, have a great loyal customer fan base, and again, you're winning those awards through the readers of these publications that's saying this is the shop that you want to come to, that you're going to be treated fairly, you're going to get that trust and taken care of in a good manner. So that's also one of the reasons we were here. Just happened to have that hybrid side was a nice feature to it.
Well, we appreciate that. I've got one customer, he sums it up. He said he feels like he's in Mayberry every time he comes because everybody's friendly and he's been coming so long.
Well, I hope it's just not because he thinks of you as Goober.
Well, no, not quite. Or Otis. So.
Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
No, not a
We
problem.
definitely want to talk to a couple of your techs and see what it's like working for you.
Sure.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Start your passion. Whether it has 4 wheels, 2 wheels, or no wheels. Whatever your passion, ignite it with Autolite.
All right, well, thank you, Will, for taking the time to talk to us. I appreciate that. I know you're busy. You were just working on doing an oil change over here. When I stopped by to come say, hey, you were mentioning how that oil change takes you back to the good old days. Can you tell us a little bit about your background? When did you get started working on cars?
I started working on cars probably when I was 17 or 18. I started going to Southwestern Community College for my associate's degree in automotive technologies. And I was working at a Quick Lube at the time.
Okay. And then what happened after that? Have you still stuck around, been working at shops?
I stayed at a Quick Lube for about 3 years.
You made the jump, however, from going from CNC back to here in a local smaller shop turning wrenches. What has that been like?
It's been great. Roselle and Greg are awesome guys. The other guys that work here, all the 2 other Wills and Tony are awesome.
It's Wills, and Wills?
That's right. We got a full house of names in here because we got another Tony up front. But it's really just a real laid-back kind of local place. Roselle and Greg know a lot of the people that come here, our customers. So it's a real integrity-based atmosphere. Take care of the customer. Nobody's gouging for anything or anything like that. It's what people are worried about when they go to a shop, you know. Am I getting what I'm paying for? And you definitely are at a place like this.
Place like this, you're getting what you're paying for. What would you say to somebody who's just thinking about getting into skilled trades or getting into becoming a tech?
I think skilled trades are very valuable, especially right now, this day and age. Going to college may not be what it was 10, 15 years ago. So, and you may not get out of it what you expect. You might, but that's a big investment. If you go and invest your time into learning how to do something and the tools to do it yourself, you will make money.
Interesting. That's a good point. Have you yourself either offered to be a mentor or offered to apprentice somebody, or have you been mentored in any way?
Yeah, I've definitely. You'll be mentored naturally by lots of men for your career. Shop foremen and other techs that I've worked next to that really imparted a lot onto me for sure. I've never mentored anyone personally. More in the CNC world, I was a setup lead, so a couple of guys around in that, but not really in the automotive. Mostly people helping me along my way.
I love that it's a whole team effort far as here. It feels very much like a team. It feels very integrated.
Yes.
Everybody's working together, trying to coach you along, get you along into the program, because you are new here. Not that you necessarily need coaching in your skills all that much, but getting into the system, getting used to how things are done here, and being part of the family here.
Yeah. If the guys have a really big, heavy tire rotation or something, a couple of us will jump on it and help clean up a mess, this or that. You know, it's definitely, like you said, a big team effort.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I appreciate
Thank you guys for coming by. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Start your passion. Whether it has 4 wheels, 2 wheels, or no wheels. Whatever your passion, ignite it with Autolite.
Really, thanks for taking the time to talk to us
Yes,
today.
sir. Yes, sir.
So the hybrid shop of the Carolinas, or auto shop of the Carolinas, has definitely a unique, kind of niche market doing those hybrids. And I understand you do a lot of the hybrids, removing those batteries to get reconditioned. Tell the audience what it's like to work on those kind of cars and the precautions and the safety and the training involved in removing those high voltage packs.
I mean, it's dangerous. You know, one false move and I could be dead. So it's pretty intense sometimes. But I mean, if you just take your time, make sure you don't touch anything, you don't get shocked. You know, you just follow procedures, use the gloves you're supposed to use. You know, make sure everything's disconnected, and then it's pretty much just working on a car after that. You know.
Yeah, so most people probably don't realize that you have high voltage lineman gloves on when you're going through that disconnect service on these before you can actually have it safe to work on. So most people don't really know that. And there is a whole training process involved in that, so you know the steps that you're doing it and that you can do it safely without it getting injured.
Exactly.
Yeah. And how long have you been a tech?
Probably about 8 years,
8 years?
give or take.
And how long you been here?
Going on a year.
Going on a year?
Roughly, about a year.
How do you like it here? How do you like working with Roselle and everything that he stands for?
It's the best place I've ever worked.
Really?
Hands down.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Readers in Charlotte tend to believe that as well, and that's probably why you have so many cars here, which is a good thing. Talk about what your daily life is like here. I mean, you've got the hybrids rolling in, but you're also doing a lot of other things too. You do everything, right?
I'm a ping pong ball around here. I mean, I'm all over the place. When something comes in, if it's a waiter, I'll jump off and tackle it like I have been today. You know, it's just constant go, 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 go. You know, we try to do everything we can to make customers happy. So obviously a waiter is going to be done first.
The culture is one thing that and Roselle made it sound like this was more of a family environment, that he wants to keep everybody happy in his techs. You guys aren't open on the weekends.
No.
So, I mean, for you, how does that make you feel?
Great. I get to rest my body for 2 days. You know, this job is hard on your body. It's nice to just relax for 2 days when I can, if I'm not doing something at the house, you know, so it's really cool to work a 5-day week, because everywhere I've ever worked has been, you know, 1 day off a week, you know, so it's just pretty nice.
Gives you a little bit more chance to unwind and do the things that you want to do as well, that keeps it in perspective on coming back into work, that they actually care about your time and
Oh yeah, and
support.
if, you know, obviously we work every business day, so if I need to take care of something, you know, it's not a big deal to request a day off or leave early for an appointment or what have you, you know, so they're pretty lenient, I guess.
What was your decision to get into automotive? When was that moment for you that you're like, I want to work on cars, this is what I want to do, this is my career? When did that happen for you?
No, I've always liked trying to solve problems, you know, diagnostics before I got into real diagnostics. You know, I wanted to be a detective or a doctor. So what am I doing now?
Both at the same time.
Exactly.
We're wearing gloves now, you know, and we're using laptops, and you are doing that diagnostics and the doctor of cars as well. So you get a little bit of all of that, like you said. And every day something different on these cars, because you've got such a wide range here. You're not dealing with one car, you're dealing with multiple different makes and models.
Exactly.
So you're seeing something all different all of the time.
It's pretty nice. But I fell right into my niche, I guess.
Well, Billy, I wanted to say thanks for taking the time
Yes,
to
sir.
talk to us today and explain what you do here and
pleasure.
what it's like working here. So thanks again. So Roselle, thanks for taking the time to have us in here, show us all about what you do here, taking the time to explain that hybrid battery reconditioning service, why it's important, some of the precautions that customers should watch out for. It was really great to see your shop and teach us a lot about that.
Joe, appreciate you guys coming by. It was nice meeting everyone. Thank you for considering us for the show. Look forward to it and great success.
Thank you very much. And again, you got a great crew working for you too. All the techs here working together, and everything seems to be really, really good with that.
It's a good team, man. I'd be lost without them.
Yeah, everybody, and genuinely, the techs that we talked to all said the same thing, just singing your praises and love working here. And you can tell it shows. And again, it shows in the 5-star reviews that you have online for sure. So thank you so much.
Not a problem. We joke about being a family, but that's what we are, a work family.
It shows. Thanks again.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
We appreciate
again.
it.
Thank you.
All right, Joe.
That was really, really neat and informative.
Wasn't
to
that
see
fascinating?
that, I thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I just wasn't really quite clear on the whole hybrid batteries. Where do they live? Where do they go? But now I've got a much better understanding of it, and I just think it's so fascinating, the technology that's involved in them.
And he's only one of the few that do it. It's
Yeah.
really neat.
Yep.
It was really great to get to know Roselle a little bit and what they do here, that hybrid technology that they've embraced and using that reconditioning and helping those customers in that way instead of having to go to the dealer. It's really great. They're also getting that Readers Awards from people in Charlotte, which means that people in the Charlotte area are voting for them to be one of the best auto shops in Charlotte. And I think it really shows here with their team, the crew, and the way that they just do things here. It was a really great experience to meet them.